No, ma'am.
Not as yet?
No, ma'am.
When will you begin? It's time you began with the independent speaking task, because you need a lot of practice to perfect your speaking skills.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And as I told all of you, you can record and send it to me so that I know how you are doing and I can give you the feedbacks that will help you to improve. Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Rishikesh. Good afternoon, Varshini.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Rishikesh. Rishikesh, did you write the SAT on Saturday?
No, ma'am.
No, okay. So have you done your SAT or you are still to do?
I'm still to do.
Still to do, okay. Hello, Kesar. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
All good. So we have Anand, Rishikesh. So, Kesar, have you had time to practice the independent task?
Ma'am, not yet. So I will start from today
Okay.
because on 3rd I had my SAT.
Oh, okay. You are also writing SAT. How did it go?
Ma'am, it was good.
Good.
Math section was best. English a bit hard. The second module was hard.
Yeah, the second modules are usually hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is hard. It's good. It was hard means you did well in the first module.
Okay.
The second module is usually difficult if you have done quite well in the first, and if you haven't done well in the first, then the second module is easy. Anybody else who has practiced? Ayan?
Ma'am, I did do a few, but they weren't that good. Like just speaking, like I was like stuttering, like I was stammering a bit. So I have to work on my speech. Like I feel like I knew what I had to say, but I got conscious when I started recording.
Okay, so that's what as you practice. So that's why I said that speaking section requires a lot of practice. So the more you practice, the better you get. If you don't practice and think, okay, well, I'll do it, I know what to do. Last moment, it's going to be difficult. Yeah. So keep practicing. Send me what you recorded. So I will be able to give my feedback and tell you exactly how to improve. Yeah. Don't worry. It's just a beginning. That's why I said you have to keep practicing. Okay, I think a few more to come in. Okay, we'll begin. I think it's already 5 minutes past. Now the speaking independent task, everyone will practice. Yeah, and this week I want responses from every one of you. You will record, send it to me. See, now you have 3 more speaking tasks to do, which also require practice. You have 2 writing tasks to do, which also require practice. And apart from this, the reading and listening. I will share some extra practice sets with you. And otherwise also you can go onto the net. You will find a lot of practice tests with timers and which can give you the scores also. You can try any of those. Yeah. And apart from that, when you At the end, when you register for TOEFL, you will get 2 ETS tests, mock tests from ETS, which you will be doing you'll be completing each test and submitting to ETS, and you will get your scores, right? Okay. Yes, Tanush, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, so Tanush, did you write your SAT this Saturday?
No, ma'am, I'm actually in 11th grade.
Okay, you
Like,
are
just
in
came.
11, right? So you'll be writing, I think first attempt you'll be doing in December or March.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So Tanush, how about your practice of the independent task?
Ma'am, I didn't do it now.
Why?
Um,
Okay, between today and Thursday, I want at least 2 to 3 independent practice responses from each one of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Plus, whatever we'll do today, that's the task number 2 of speaking, recordings of that also, right? If you're not regular with your work, you will not be able to practice properly. Okay? So if you haven't practiced, start from today itself. Okay? Okay then. So we will be moving on to the second task. So this is the integrated speaking task 2. So it is a speaking task 2, and this is an integrated task. Task 1 is independent task. Now you have to remember what each task is, right? So when we talk about, yeah. So everyone can see the screen clearly? Okay.
Yes.
So now when we are talking about the integrated speaking task, you have 3 integrated tasks. There are task number 2, task number 3, and task number 4. Yeah, and they will come in that order. So task number 2 is a reading plus listening. You will get a reading passage plus a track to listen to, and then you will speak. So this will be read, listen, speak. Now, when you come to task number 2, it is a campus situation. You have a small announcement, a flyer or something, a very short passage to read, about 45 to 50 seconds to read. Even in the task 3, you have a very short passage to read where you get about 45 seconds. You will listen to a track which could be about, so in the campus situation, you will listen to a conversation. In the academic course content, that is task 3, you will listen to a lecture, which will be about 60 seconds or a little more. Your preparation time for both these tasks will be 30 seconds. Speaking time will be 60 seconds. Yeah. So if I talk about task number 2, a campus situation, short passage, announcement or flyer or something of that sort, plus conversation. Task number 3, a short reading, which is academic reading. It will be about a topic and a specific concept or topic explained, and a lecture on the same topic, explaining the concept with the help of examples, right? So you remember these 2. Preparation time 30 seconds, speaking time 60 seconds. This is important to note, right? And task 4 will be, in task 4, you have no reading to do. You just have to listen to a lecture, about 1.5 to 2 minutes, usually it will be. Your preparation time will be 20 seconds. Now the lecture will be about a topic. The topic will be explained, various concepts of the topic explained with the help of examples, right? Here you get preparation time of 20 seconds, speaking time of 60 seconds. So this is important. You have just 30 seconds for task 2 and 3 and 20 seconds for task 4 to prepare. Your speaking time in both the type of tasks are 60 seconds. Yeah. Whether it is the campus situation or academic course content, or it is the task 4 that is just listening to a lecture, your speaking time is 60 seconds. Integrated task, speaking time 60 seconds. Independent task, what is the speaking time? Rishikesh?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the speaking time for the independent task?
45 seconds.
seconds. So that you have to remember, right? 45 seconds and 60
ma'am.
seconds. Okay. Now we come to first a recap of how you are scored. If you remember, we spoke about the 4 parameters. Number 1, general description, that is whether you fulfill the demands of the task or not, whether it is coherent, intelligible, etc. Delivery, your fluidity of speech, pronunciation, sound, intonation, etc. A natural pace is there or not. Language use, your grammar, vocabulary. Topic development. Now in the independent task, topic development would have been how well you are able to put forward your points and your opinion. That is how well you are able to support your opinion. When it comes to the integrated task, topic development will require how well you answer the given question and use all the important information that is required from both the reading and the listening passages, right? So here and as we said, make most use of the time allotted, yeah? And the relationship between ideas, progression from one idea to the next should be clear and smooth. So the flow of your speaking should not be interrupted in any way. And yeah, this was also, that's a more or less a good answer with minimum errors, which doesn't hamper anything, would be what the raters are looking for, right? So we all had also talked about what you need to keep in mind about your response. It should be complete, intelligible, coherent, sustained, yeah, clear, fluid, good pronunciation, natural pacing, grammar, vocabulary, your sentence structure. Even when you are speaking, you should have correct sentences. The structure of the sentence should be okay, well developed, coherent, etc. So when you are speaking, what do? Your answer should match the question. That is, should cover the question. Answer clearly, use the correct syntax, accurate vocabulary, your point of view, that is, and now in the independent task, it is your point of view. In the integrated task, your point of view should not be expressed. This is what one thing you have to remember. In the integrated task, you will not use I, right? I think, or in my opinion, nothing of that is required. Only what the question asks you to do, right? And you have to answer in complete sentences, not in fragments. And keep a watch on the time. Now, when we spoke about the rubrics of the independent task, we explained everything. We went through the integrated task rubrics also. So just to recap of what you are expected, you are aiming for a score of 4. Yeah. So when you are aiming for a score of 4, apart from being highly intelligible, sustained, coherent, there should be minor errors, not major errors. So minor lapses, sustained, fluid, overall intelligibility is high, good control of the basic complex grammatical structures. Yeah, this is what the raters are going to look at. So this is the scoring rubrics they have in front of them. So they'll be ticking each of the parameters, right? Whether it is good or not, whether it is meeting the score of 4 or not. Then conveys, now here, this is important here, sorry. It should convey all the relevant information. Yeah. So when we say relevant information, that's where it's important to take down your notes properly. Includes appropriate detail. Yeah. So this part, the topic development part, is very important when you are doing the integrated task. If you don't have all the information, if you haven't like your integrated task answer will be like a short essay. Yeah, short essay on what is given to you. So all the information that is given to you should be, it will be like a short, instead of, not exactly a short essay, it will be answer. So you are responding to particular information that is given to you. Yeah, and all that information should be there in your answer. Okay, clear about that? Okay, so now let's move on to what the task 2 is. So a little more details. So we have a campus situation, as TOEFL likes to call it, fit and explain. Yeah. So you read a short passage of about 75 to 100 words, which is related to some campus issue. And then you listen to a conversation between two students discussing that particular issue, where one of the students would be the main speaker. So maybe the first student is the main speaker. So when you write your notes, you have student 1 and student 2, and student 1 would be the main speaker. So you have to take down the opinion of the student. What are the points? Now they will be discussing the issue. Now the issue will be something like, maybe it's talking about like the exam dates will be postponed. Say maybe your school has an announcement, it is put up on the notice board, or it is circulated to everybody. The exam dates will be postponed from say April to May, and they give 2 reasons. Maybe they talk about because most of the students are busy with sports activities in the month of March. So it is going to be shifted, or maybe it's talking about some visit of some person because of, so mainly the issue and 2 reasons are given. And the student will be discussing the issue with the 2 reasons, whether they agree or disagree, they'll be expressing their opinion. So the one main student will be expressing the opinion, and there will be the other students in the conversation. So some points brought up or some questions asked by the second student. So pretty much like your conversation track of the listening section, something of that sort will come up. Now, the topics are mostly related to campus facilities or campus life, maybe something like announcement of a new parking regulations, or suppose letter to discuss dormitory radio regulations. Now remember, when we're talking about campus situation here, you have to visualize a campus situation if you are already in college. So you are living on campus, or maybe you are living off campus, what it is like, right? Or say a proposal for building a new football stadium. So it may come up in the newspaper, it could be on the notice board, it could be sent to everybody, something, it could be something related to a particular course that maybe a particular new course that all the students need to take up for credits. Yeah, and it could be just about anything. So usually this is important to note. The reading material will present a plan and give 2 reasons, and the student will be discussing those 2 reasons, either supporting or opposing it. Your task will be to summarize the points raised by the student with reference to the announcement or flyer, whatever, as a reading material, and you have to just discuss it, stating the opinion of the student. That is what is required. Your preparation time 30 seconds, response time 60 seconds. Yeah. Now, the point here is, now in this 30 seconds, what can you do? Now remember that while you are reading, you will be taking down notes. While you are listening, you are taking down notes, right? So you will first read, then listen, and there will be two interlocutors or speakers. A clear view will be expressed, supported with reasons, and those points you have to take down, right? Okay, everyone, please have your videos on. Okay. The first panel has all the videos on. Okay, Varshini, do you have any problem?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm on mobile data.
You're on mobile, you are out still? Where are you?
I'm not in my house right now, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So everyone, if there's no problem, please keep your videos on. Okay, so as we were saying, we have two speakers, one main speaker with the clear view stated. Now, here is one thing you have to note: the reading passage will disappear after it comes. So they will give you 45 seconds to read the passage and take down your notes. Yeah. Then the audio clip will play only once, and nothing will come back to you again. Right? So similar to the listening section, where whatever is played will not be replayed for you. You will not have access to it once it is played. So notes taking is very important. Yeah. So what do you get down? You get down the important ideas. Remember, in the scoring rubrics, important ideas are important. Yeah, you have to take down the important ideas. Now, when you are reading, take down your notes as you read. You don't have to take down entire sentences. Just the keywords are enough. Yeah. And so what are you going to do? Focus on the keywords. Maybe you just write down what the topic is. And point number 1, point number 2, you just write down a couple of words. Why? So the reason. So here you need to know why. So the reason 1, reason 2, and if there is something extra to it, you can write that down. Yeah. Now, when you are writing down the keywords, you have listened to the conversation, you have read the passage, right? So that will help you to recall what has been said anyway. So as we said earlier also, in our notes taking strategies, use symbols, use short forms, just as long as you understand them. Nobody is going to read your notes and ask you, what have you written, right? But you shouldn't write something which you yourself don't understand. And when you are speaking, maintain a natural pace. Don't rush through it. Yeah, just because you have 60 seconds. Okay, so now what do you have to do? Your task is to explain one speaker's opinion on the campus issue using points he or she makes in the audio clip. Yeah, that's what the question will be about. So you are taking notes. Now you have to summarize information from the reading. Don't go into in detail about the reading part. Yeah, the points from the reading. You just have to give a short summary about what it is and then move on to the speaker's opinion, right? And so from the reading material, once you have taken down the reason to support or oppose delivered from the dialogue, that will help. So point number 1, what is the reading? Point number 1, what is the speaker's say argument for point number 1, right? Now examples may be given by the speaker, but mainly the reason is important. And here your focus of your answer will be on what the speaker is saying. Yeah, your focus of the answer, so all the details that you need to present will be from the conversation. So the attitude of the speaker, if you get the attitude of the speaker, then you will know whether she dislikes the announcement or she dislikes the proposal, or likes the proposal, whatever it can be. Now, the specific attitude, you will be talking about some of the reasons behind this attitude. So both you have to state. And you are not giving your own opinion. This you have to remember very clearly. Yeah. Task 2, integrated task, all 3 of them do not require your own opinion. Only independent task requires your opinion. Yeah, so no opinions required. Okay. So now we need to know how to write. So here again, we need how to speak. Yeah. So how templates, as I said, help you to structure your answer. So we will go through a few templates again. So it should be the first thing will be explain the campus situation. So a brief summary of the passage. Yeah. So a short summary of the passage according to the passage or the announcement or flyer, whatever it is. So now before the reading passage comes up, they will tell you now listen to what? Now listen to the university's plan to say increase the fines for not submitting your assignment, or imposing fines for not submitting assignment on time. And then they will be giving you 2 reasons. So then according to the passage or according to the announcement, whatever it is, if it is an announcement, you will say announcement. If it is a flyer, you will say flyer. If it is a proposal by the university, then you will say proposal. Yeah. Or the school intends to, if you want to keep it short. The passage explains that, if it is an explanation of something. Next, what you do, state whether the student agrees or disagrees with the proposal or change. Right? So once you have stated what it is, then you go on directly to whether the student agrees or disagrees. So you can use templates like the student agrees or disagrees with the school's changes or decision or proposal for 2 or 3 reasons, whatever, how many reasons the student has given. Or you may say the student supports or opposes these changes. And then you can go on that this according to the student. So maybe you forgot to say 2 or 3 reasons. Just you can go on. The first reason is or the second reason is that way. Or maybe the university has proposed something and the student disagrees. So you can use the contrasting words, contrasting transitions like however. However, the student does not support this plan. Right? Okay. Next, what do you do? Now you are going to bring up the points raised by the student. Yes?
Can you show the previous slide?
Okay, just a moment. Right here. So first is the brief summary of the reading. Second is whether the opinion of the student. Right? Got it? Yes, Charul, got it? Okay. Let's move on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next, what are you going to do? You've stated what the proposal or the announcement was. You have said whether the student agrees or disagrees. Now, you have to go on with the points raised by the student, right? So how are you going to raise the points raised by the student? So here you have to elaborate on the points and give the reasons that the student has given. Yeah. And all your points will be from what the students have been talking about. So first the student believes that or thinks or feels that, or you may say the first point the students makes is that, and then you go on to elaborate on it. Yeah. You can begin your answer like this. One reason is that, yeah, maybe you said the student disagrees with the proposal made or the announcement made by the university. One reason is that. One reason she supports or opposes the proposal is that. Yeah, because you've already said whether she supports or opposes. or you can just go on to one reason is that, or if you want to repeat, you may. Just takes extra few seconds. According to, or you can say according to the student, and then go on to present the first point. And one thing you have to remember, keep it all in the present tense. That makes it easy. First thing, the entire answer should be in the same tense. If you started off with a past tense, then continue with the past tense. If you started with a present tense, continue with the present tense. Preferably, when you are speaking, speak in the present tense. Yeah, like the university proposes according to the passage, the university proposes that in the conversation, the student believes that or feels that will be easier for you to present the answer. Next, you move on to the second point made by the student. You'll usually have 2 points. Yeah. Next, when you're moving to the second point made by the student, it will be the similar structure. You can say, secondly, the student believes that, or furthermore, the student believes that. Or the second point the student makes is that. So you may say another reason instead of second, or the student also remarks or says that, right? Or additionally, that would be a good thing to do. Additionally, the students believes, feels, or thinks that, right? Okay, I hope you got it down. So you can, so when you are doing the templates, think of one particular template, write it down, mug it up, right? So no matter what question comes, your template is the same. You know how to begin. Only difference will be whether it's a proposal, flyer, announcement, that will change. The terminology may change somewhere, but your structure will remain the same, right? So you don't have to, you won't get stuck, and you don't have to start thinking about how to begin, and it will also bring clarity to your answer. So always like make it clear whether it's your first point or you're talking about the second point that the student has made. Yeah. If there's a third point, then you go on to say furthermore, or and finally, or the third point the student makes it, or the last reason that the student gives is, right? Okay, now another thing, since you have 2 students, one of them could be a female, one of them could be male, or both could be female or male. Now, you have first introduce the student, maybe you can, if a name, now if a particular name is given to you, then it is good to note down the name. So how will you get to the name? Maybe you could listen to the conversation, any name comes up, name of the first student, that is the main student, you have to note down. And then when you move on, you don't have to say the student or just the name each time. You can just refer to the student as he or she, right? So, so that helps you to avoid repetition. Just use the pronoun, right? And here, do not give your own examples or reasons. Now, own opinion, example, reason, not allowed, right? Just stick to whatever has been given to you. Your answer should be based just on the passage and the conversation, right? Only the points raised in the conversation. Now, even if you are asked that what are the reasons given, they will not ask you, do you think it is correct? That's not the question is. You just have to ask to, you have to just summarize what the student has said and tell the, or the question will be, what is the opinion of the student? Summarize the points raised by the student. Yeah. So what you would have to do, use he or she, stick to the points in the passage and the conversation. Only talk about what the speaker and the passage have told you. This is important to know, right? Don't go beyond. Okay. Okay. So just summing up the template, if we have to talk about one particular template, maybe. So from the reading main point, according to the announcement, article or letter, yeah. Reason from the reading, this is because, so along with the point, you will get reason 1 and reason 2. You can state the reason here, or if you think that the conversation is too long and too many points in the conversation, you can club the reason with the conversation. So maybe you can say there are 2 reasons why the man or the student supports or opposes this change, or whatever it is. So this change could vary. It could be this announcement or this proposal. And then when you come to the, or maybe there could be mixed opinion opinion in the response. So maybe one particular point the student agrees to, the second point the student does not agree to. Yeah, so in that case, you will be talking about a mixed opinion. And if there is no mixed opinion, you state clearly whether the student supports or opposes or agrees or disagrees to. Yeah. And then you come to the first reason. First of all, he argues that here you can bring in the first reason in the reading passage. So reason 1 can be stated here. So first of all, he argues that, so the reason argues that the reason given by this university, and state the reason. You can say that so and so is not correct, and then you go on to the reason given by the student and say because, sorry, and then you state the reason given by the student, and then you move on to the second reason. Moreover, he mentions that, or furthermore, additionally, he states that. So this is one template I have put down. You can put down a template whichever suits you, but try using a fixed template no matter what the question is, right? So you will, when you get used to the template, you don't have to think now, how do I begin? Should I use this or should I use that? You know, this is the only template I have and I'm going to use it, right? So these are the templates that you could use. So everyone got it down? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So now they said don't memorize the entire response, right? So the same question is not going to come. So you have to figure out what to say, of course, and do not add a conclusion, not required, right? So you can just end that the first reason, second reason, or the first response of the student, the second response of the student. If you think you have time, say you have more than 5 seconds left, you can go for a conclusion, otherwise absolutely not required. Because you won't have enough time maybe even to finish your response. You have to make sure you finish all the points that you want to state. Yeah. So the most important information should come first. That is important. Yeah. So you have to be able to figure out what is the important information will usually be in response to the point in the reading passage, right? Anything in response to the reading passage specifically will be most important. Other things could be in support to that particular point raised, and you have to be able to figure out whether it is important or not. Yeah. So 50 to 60 seconds to respond. You must elaborate the topic and bring out the key points. That's all you have to do, right? Okay, now the thing is that we need to have a notes-taking format in mind. Yeah. So in the independent section, there was no notes-taking, but here the notes-taking is extremely important. So you have to have a format in mind. So usually columns help. Your first column, you get the points from the passage. Yeah. So the topic, leave a little space. So even before the reading passage comes up, when they are telling you, when they're giving you the instructions, they will be telling you now you will be listening to a campus situation. Now you know, task 1 is done. Task 2 is the campus situation. There will be a passage and conversation. So immediately you start writing down your notes-taking format on a sheet of paper. Yeah. And as soon as the reading passage comes up, you know what to take down. So the topic, what is the topic? You write it down over here. Point number one, what is the point number one? So apart from the topic, there will be the point number one and the reason behind it, point number two and the reason behind it, or maybe just reason one and reason two. So in very short, take down all the points from the passage, because this is what the student will be responding to. Now, when you talk about point number one, corresponding, the point number one is the opinion of the student, or the discussion of point number one will come up. And when you're coming to the conversation, you'll have two students, student X, student Y. Student Y may be the secondary speaker, student X will be the main speaker. Now, student X will be the one whose opinion matters. So the opinion is the first thing you write down. So either if you have written down agree, disagree, you just tick whether the student is agreeing or whether the student is disagreeing. Then point number one, you don't have to write down the whole point, just the reason or the opinion given by the student and the reason that the student talks about, right? Similarly, for point number two, the opinion and the reason, maybe the opinion is different. So in the point, maybe the point number one, the student disagrees, point number two agrees. Yeah. So accordingly, you will take down your notes. So this is your notes taking format. Write it down, and this is what makes it a little easier to take down the notes. So when you are speaking, you can look at what you have written down. In response to point number one, the student said this. In response to the second reason of the university, the student said this, right? So this makes you, and when you get the 30 seconds to prepare, you can write down your template, or you have your template in your mind. You just organize your answer. So what is the most important? Maybe a few keywords you forgot to write down. At that point, you write down the keywords so that you know that sentence number one, these points must go in. Right? Got it? Chinmay? You got the format? Chinmay, are you there? Yeah, so you've written down the format. Everyone has written down the format. Okay. So now let's try a particular task, right? So now the directions will be given. Now you will be listening to task number. You will be doing task number 2. You will now read a short passage and listen to a conversation on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about them. After you hear the question, give yourself 30 seconds to prepare your response. Then record yourself speaking for 60 seconds. Now, this is enough time to write down your notes-taking format, right? And then maybe you will get
City University plans to begin playing music over loudspeakers in the campus cafeterias. You will have 50 seconds to read an article from the campus newspaper about the plan. Begin reading now.
Okay. So this will come up. First, they will be, after the directions, they'll be giving you, they'll be telling you what it is about. So if you listen carefully, what do you take down from this particular thing? City University. What is the reading about? Yes, Kesar?
Plans to play loud music on speakers.
Yeah, so this is the point. You have to keep this in mind, write it down, and you know that this is what you are going to read, right?
City University plans to be City
Okay. So here is your passage. Yeah. You will get, they said you will get 45 to 50 seconds usually. If they said 50 seconds, the timer will be 50 seconds. Yeah. So you read and take down your notes. Yes, everyone got your notes down? Right. So, okay, now who will show me what you've written down? Chinmay, can you show me what you've written down? Just hold it up to your camera. Okay, I can't, it's a little blurred. Okay, doesn't matter. Ayan, can you show me what you've written?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I've written. Okay.
Doesn't matter, whatever you've written. Okay, you got down your points. So now, did you people make your columns, reading and listening? Yeah, it will be easier if you just make those columns. Yeah, this is the first time, fine. But after this, remember, while they are giving the directions, so I think I'll go back to the format for taking notes so you can take it down. So write it down like this. Do your columns. It will be easier for you to relate which point the student is talking about, right? So anyone who has made columns for their notes? No one? Charul? How did you take down the notes?
Ma'am, simply like the sentences, not in the
Okay.
actual.
Okay, fine. So what are the points you wrote down?
City Uni-
Ma'am,
Yes, what are the, just read out what you have written, exactly what you have written.
ma'am, first I took one point from the speaking session that plans to place.
You don't tell me anything. You just write down the words you have written. No matter,
Okay,
it doesn't matter if it is just haphazard, whatever. Just what you have written.
Plans to play loudspeaker on campus begin next summer. University cafeteria will be broadcast. Then Daxon music will be foster for more relaxing atmosphere. Students' lives are hectic. Gives opportunities, sense. Excellent.
Okay, so quite details you've written. But what you've written down will be broadcasting loud music or classical music. Okay,
Classical.
Yeah, classical. Okay, let's see what the topic here was. Now the university wants to know, whoever Dixon or whatever, doesn't matter. What matters is that it is an announcement. Yeah. And next semester or not, doesn't matter. University cafeteria, now it is relating to the university cafeteria. Broadcast classical music or play classical music during meal time. Yeah, these are the key words. And why? Now it comes to, here is the topic. Now reason number one or point number one and reason number two. What is reason number one? Students' lives are hectic. Mealtime provide important opportunities to take a break, catch up with friends before moving on to the next class or assignment. Remember why we are taking down these notes? We have to see how the student responds to this particular reason, right? Okay, now we are also hoping that if we provide music, students will unplug their personal music devices like Walkmans and MP3 players and will spend time talking to each other, right? So when students have their headphones on, they are not connected. So that's all you need from the passage, right? So what are we expecting now? Will tell me. Varshini, can you respond?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you expecting from the conversation?
I think that it's probably going to be the student disagreeing
No,
or
I'm
agreeing
not
with
talking about the, agreeing or disagreeing. What will the student be discussing?
about whether the music should be played or not and its side effects.
So first thing, whether the students would want to listen to the music and take the opportunity to take a break or not, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Second, whether they will be unplugging their own devices and connecting to others or not, right? These are the 2 points that should come up in the conversation. Okay. Now let's listen to the conversation.
Now listen to 2 students discussing the university's plan.
Did you read this article? Are they serious?
Yeah, I think so. Why?
Well, first of all, a lot of kids aren't looking for a relaxing break at lunchtime. They like to study while they eat, especially if they have exams coming up or some assignment they have to get done.
Yeah, that's true.
And now they won't be able to concentrate. This is going to be very distracting.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point.
And second, most students don't like classical music.
It's certainly not what I listen to.
So are people going to stop listening to their own music?
No.
I think people are going to be even more likely to bring their MP3 player, to play their own music and block out the classical stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The man expresses his opinion of the university's plan. State his opinion and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
Okay.
Now listen to 2.
So your question will appear after the conversation. Yeah. And here they will tell you, you will get 30 seconds to prepare and the beep for the 30 seconds will start. So now you got what you were expecting from the conversation? Right? Rishikesh? So what are the points you wrote down from the conversation?
I wrote that kids are not relaxing, not able to concentrate, and most do not like classical music. So people will use more MP3 for their devices to block their sound.
So coming to the first point, if you are preparing, you have to elaborate on it, right? So Rishikesh, just give me an elaboration of the first point of the student. First point raised by the student. Just elaborate on it.
Lot of today's kids do not relax.
Would you say today's kids or the students? It's talking about the university students.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So they won't want to relax. Why?
Because their exams are coming.
Yeah, because they would prefer to study. The student talked about 2 things: exams and assignments.
Yes.
Right? They have to complete their assignments, or they would prefer studying for their upcoming exams during the break. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's see. That was the first point. Tanush, can you elaborate on the second point?
Yes, ma'am. So the second point that the student stated was that not many students like classical music, and just because they don't want to listen to classical music, they will bring their own MP3 players in order to block out the classical music because they don't like it and they don't want to listen to it.
Yeah. So then we can conclude that this will not serve the purpose that the university wants, right? We can just add that to it. Okay, so now Ayan, how would you begin your answer?
How would I would okay.
So now first thing you took down notes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So from the now taking how would you like to structure your answer? The first thing would be to get the points from the passage. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So you would say, what did the passage say?
It's from the passage said that the
So-
music in the music.
So no, just a moment. Now here, when you are formulating your answer, you will not say what the passage said. What will you say instead for this particular question? You would go back to the university's announcement, right? Doesn't matter who the director or the name of the director, you can just say the university has announced that it would, what would it do? Yeah, so that topic will come out. So the university's announcement for playing classical music, right, during in the cafeteria. That is important. Where? That is important. Yeah, in the cafeteria. So these are the, now when you are planning, these points are there to help you with framing your sentence. Yeah, so what the university plans, and you would, now the conversation is quite short. Yeah, you can add reason number 1 and reason number 2. You can say as the university thinks that, or the director thinks. So here you can go back to the director because it's in the inverted, it's in the quotes that the director said. So according to the director, playing classical music will help the students relax and unwind, and prevent them from bringing their own MP3 players and plugging in. Instead, they could meet and converse with each other. Yeah, and remember, don't use the exact words from the passage. Since you've got down your points, it will be easier to frame your own sentences. Yeah, so that's all you get from the passage. Next, when we are talking about the speaker, the student, you can use he from the second sentence onward. So the student agrees or disagrees? Disagrees, right? So the student disagrees to the proposal by the university, and then reason number 1 and reason number 2 will come in. So reason number 1 was what? That students want to study, utilize the break to study, and second was don't like. Now you have expanded, you know, these are the 2 things you want to expand on, right? You can write some 4 more keywords to this. After doing your notes and using your 30 seconds, sorry, what are you going to do? Now you are going to use your template, right? So Chinmay, can you use your template to begin the answer? Just the first paragraph. First point. What template would you use? Do you want to have a look at the template? Let's see. No, I don't have the template here. Okay, we have to go quite back to the template. Okay, so maybe we are looking at this template. Yeah. So can you formulate your first point? That is the main point from the reading. Look at your notes, what you have written down. Chinmay, we can't hear you. You were unmuted, but your voice is not audible. You're not audible, Chinmay. Sorry, we can't hear you. Just see if you can have your headphones on. Maybe we could hear you better. Okay. So by the time you figure out your audio, who wants to respond? Sahas?
Ma'am, I joined just now.
Yeah, I know, but you joined by the time we were discussing the point. So I think you can use a template to give your first point.
Ma'am, actually, I joined just now. I didn't see the template.
Okay, the template is in front of you.
Okay.
You've got your points. Give it a try.
Ma'am, I don't know the question actually.
You did read the question, I think. No?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Salab, did you read the question? Yes, Salab. You are not audible, Salab. Now for the TOEFL classes, please, I have told you, please check your audio and video before you join the classes. If you are not able to respond, there's no point in me asking you to speak, and you will not be getting enough practice, right? Please check your audio and make sure it is working properly. Okay, who else would want to respond?
Am I audible now?
Yes, Chinmay, you're audible now. Please go on.
So we can start, like, according to the announcement, university is planning to play classical music during meal time to help children relax and give them a like.
What were the two reasons they wanted to play classical music?
Students will stop using their MP3 players and Walkman, and they'll start interacting and talking to each other.
Okay. Did you miss any important information? Look at what you've written down and see, did you miss anything important? Can't figure out?
No.
Okay. Kesar, did he miss anything important?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just tell him what he missed.
Break from hectic life and assignment.
And
Anything catch up with friends.
Anything else?
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria. That's a very important. So playing, the university wants to play classical music. Where? In the classroom? In the campus? Cafeteria is a very important point here. If you miss that information, you will get 3 for that particular, like.
Yes.
Yeah. So do not miss important information in your answers. Okay. Now coming to the second point. Charul, can you compose your second point using the template? So what will be your second point? You are transitioning into the conversation part. So the opinion of the student?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
So the student disagree with the university's decision for the two main reasons. Firstly, that they would prefer to studying before exam and doing their assignments, and the breaks are only the time where they can relax and have a lunch and may not be able to concentrate and get distracted.
If the music plays, they will be getting distracted. So you have to be clear. The clarity of the point should be there. Okay, Rishikesh, can you formulate your second point using the template?
Yes, ma'am. As students will get distracted, they will use their personal devices to block that particular sound. So it will
what will happen? So what was there something you are missing out in the second point?
Yes, ma'am. Most people do not like classical.
Yeah, not all students like classical music. So now, how would you begin your point? You haven't begun your point properly.
As most of students do not like classical music, so they will get distracted.
Now, would that be like how would you know that this is relating to the first point or second point?
I'll start with secondly or
So,
second point.
secondly, students' response to the second point raised by the university and disagrees to it, saying that. Yeah, you can say something like that, or more. Secondly, or moreover, he mentions that. Right? Something has to be there to show clearly that this is in response to the second point.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Anybody who wants to attempt the entire answer in 1 minute? Ayan, please give it a try.
Ma'am, I could try. Okay.
Doesn't matter if you're not perfect. Just give it. You have to try.
Answer the entire. Okay.
Yeah, the entire answer.
Okay. According to the article, the city university is planning on playing music in the cafeteria during meal times. This is because the director Dixon believes that it would create a relaxed atmosphere, and the meal time is like a break time for the students, and they can catch up before going to their assessments or classes. Then there are two reasons why the student opposes the announcement. Firstly, he argues that during the break time, students don't want to relax, but instead they want to study for their upcoming exams or tests. And the music would distract them and won't help them in the concentration. Moreover, he mentions that most of the students do not like classical music and would end up bringing their own personal Walkman or MP3 players to listen in the class. Listen in the break time.
Listen in the break time. Okay. Now, one thing here, when you're talking about the points from the passage, right? Don't go into too much of details over there. Instead, use those points when you are discussing what the student says about the particular point. That would be easier, because what happens is you are focusing more, it ends up focusing more on the reading matter than on the conversation, right? So when you are responding, just give the topic and in very short talk about what the reason was. So you can just say that the university has announced that it will play classical music during break time in the cafeteria, so that the students can relax and interact with each other. That will be more than enough. Yeah. So it just gives you the two main phrases. Then you go on to the conversation, and all the details you want would be in the conversation part, right? So this was your first task. So one thing you have to remember, how to take down your notes. If you take down your notes in a proper format, it is easier to respond. What is it now? When you are writing, when you are saying, you know exactly what the student is responding to, right? And secondly, you will be using your template. Now there are few things that you have to, that will help you to figure out whether your task was proper or not. So there's a checklist that you can say, you can write it down. First thing, did I speak for 50 to 60 seconds? If your response got over in say 42 or less than 50 seconds, less than 55 seconds in fact, means you haven't got all your points in. Yeah, you should be speaking for at least 57 seconds. Maybe 3 to 4 seconds left is just fine. Right? Now, was your introduction in 15 seconds or less? If you used more than 15 seconds for your introduction, it was too long. That is, whatever you're talking about, whatever you're talking with reference to the passage should be completed in 15 seconds. Okay. Now, did I have enough time to introduce a short conclusion? That depends upon how long how long the conversation is. In this particular conversation, you could squeeze in a conclusion, otherwise not required. So about 5 to 6 seconds of conclusion could be put in. Now important is, did I look at the clock to monitor my time at least twice? Yeah. So first time you look at your clock is when you finish your introduction. Second time you look at your clock is when you finish your first point. So you know how much time you have for the second point, right? Now, if you think of it, how much time should you have for your second point? Now, when you are 60 seconds, let's break down the 60 seconds. In 60 seconds, say 15 seconds or 10 to 15 seconds for your introduction, right? How much time left? 45, right? So in the 45 seconds, 20 seconds for your point number 1, 20 seconds for your point number 2 at least. Now you have 5 seconds left, maybe or maybe not. Maybe you could take about 22 seconds here, you have taken, then you know that you just have about 22 seconds left. So that's where you will look. The first part you will look at the clock is after your introduction, about 15 seconds should have gone. Second part of your introduction, about 35 seconds should be gone. Third part, when you finish off, not more than 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. If 3 seconds are left, just stop. If 5 seconds are left, put in a conclusion. Yeah? Otherwise, you will start speaking. By the time you start speaking, the beep will come, or the timer will be over, so nothing will be recorded. Right? Okay. Now, what else do you need to do? Did I include at least 2 transition words? So when you are introducing your 2 points, 2 transition words should come in. Right? Did I speak at a smooth and even pace? So that's why it is important to record yourself always. Record and then play back. So when you are listening, you will be able to figure out all these things. Did I speak at a smooth and even pace for the majority of my response? 1 or 2 times, if you get stuck, you pause and continue. Not a problem, but not too much. Did I speak at a natural conversational tone, not a robotic voice? So you used your template and then you just went on. So if I read this in a robotic voice, how would it sound? Did I look at the clock to monitor my time at least twice? Did I include at least 2 transition words or phrases? Did I speak at a smooth and even pace for the majority of my response? Does it sound good? Doesn't, right? So your tone of your voice should fluctuate a little. Remember when you did your speech or elocution in school? You were marked for your fluctuation of tone, your modulation of your voice. So use that here. Did I include all essential information? This is very important. What information did you leave out? Right? So here is where your notes are very important. Refer to your notes, and for each point, remember the important information should be there. Right? Okay. So let's move on to the another task. We still have a little time. Right? So these tasks are all there in your study material. Tracks are also there. So when you are practicing, read and read, listen, and then speak and maintain your time. Keep a timer. So time yourself for 45 seconds when you are reading, 30 seconds to prepare. Yeah. Listening time, you don't need to put a timer on because it'll end whenever it ends. And when you are speaking, then also you need your timer on. So now when we come to this, again, you will read a short passage and listen to a conversation on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about them. After you hear the question, give yourself 30 seconds to prepare your response. Then record yourself speaking for 60 seconds. Right? Now here you will listen to a university has announced a new scholarship opportunity on its website. You will have 45 seconds to read the announcement. Begin reading now. So while all this is coming up, what are you doing? Celeb, what will you be doing while all this is being read out to you?
I suppose I'll be taking notes.
You will be taking notes, or you will be writing down the format for taking notes?
I wasn't there in the format part, so
yeah, you will be working on the format part. So once you have got your format ready, topic, point number 1, point number 2, reading, conversation, point number 1, point number 2, agree or disagree, you are ready with that format. Yeah? Okay. So here's your reading passage. Take down your notes from the reading passage.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can I leave? I have my coaching at 5:30. I have to.
You have your coaching. You have to go, or is it online?
No, ma'am, I have to go.
You have to go. Okay. You may go, but remember, I want your responses.
Yes.
For the two speaking tasks that we have done, the first one, you will do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know what to do. It will be easier for you. And the second one also you will do.
Okay.
Right. And I need at least 3 to 4 independent speaking task recordings sent to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
You may leave now.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, everyone got your notes down from the reading passage? Yeah. So what is it about? It's about an announcement by the university regarding opportunities, new scholarship, which it is offering for opportunities to study in Rome, right? So it is the Romance Languages Department. Yeah. The Bernacourt Scholarship. If you write it down, it is good. So you can refer to it so they know you've got your points down. So what is the passage talking about? What are the points you got down from the passage? Akshita? What are the points you got down from the passage?
Ma'am, I wrote down that it is offering a new opportunity to students in Romance Language Department. They get to study for tuition free for 2 semesters in Rome. They need to submit an essay exploring a specific part of the Italian culture and a detailed plan how it would provide them an opportunity and benefit them for further research. And it is not available to students outside of the Romance Language Department. Okay. So if you see, the topic is about the scholarship and the requirements. Point number 1, submit an essay on Italian culture. Point number 2, submit a detailed plan. Point number 3, that students other than Romance languages are ineligible. So what are you expecting from the conversation? Anybody? Yes, Saz, what are we expecting from the conversation?
I'm a student inquiring about
so the students will be discussing these points. So they will be discussing whether they should submit an essay or not, whether it is a good idea. Should they be giving a detailed plan, or can they give a detailed plan? And the third aspect they would be discussing is whether departments from other students from other departments should be allowed or not, right? So keeping this in mind, we can listen to the conversation.
Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
I think it's totally unfair that the Buonacore Scholarship is only being offered to students in the Romance Languages department. Like, it's an amazing opportunity, and it's so sad to see it monopolized in this way.
Is it really such a bad thing to limit the scholarship to one department, though? I mean, the fewer students compete for the prize, the easier it'll be for students like us to win it. After all, there are only 7 other students in the whole Romance Languages department besides us.
That doesn't change the fact that it's wrong for the scholarship to be limited to our single department. It's a matter of principle. First of all, there are students in other departments, like history and classics and Renaissance studies, all of whom would definitely benefit from a year in Italy. Why shouldn't they get a chance to submit their work to the committee?
But if they also submitted their essays, it would be harder for us to get the prize.
Look, just because something benefits me personally doesn't make me think that it's right. I mean, I have a lot of friends in history and classics and Renaissance studies, and I totally agree with them that it's wrong for them to be ineligible to compete for the scholarship. After all, Romance Languages is a very small department, and it seems abusive for us to keep this resource all to ourselves.
I guess I see where you're coming from.
Also, I think that it takes something away from the honor of winning the scholarship if the competition isn't very strong. I'd rather know that I earned the opportunity to study in Rome by competing against the very best students, instead of thinking that I was only honored because other talented people were unnecessarily excluded from the process.
So everyone got your points down? So if you see, the conversation focuses on the exclusion of the other students from participating in the process of the scholarship, right? So now let's see what the question is.
Now listen to.
Okay. So here's a question. The female student expresses her opinion about why she disagrees with the university's new policy. State her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. Yeah. So you've got your points down from the conversation. Everyone has got their points down. Okay. Let me see. Celeb, can you tell me what is the first point you got down from the conversation? Point number 1 that you wrote. Just the words that you wrote.
Broken languages, like feels that it's unfair for them to have the opportunity all to themselves, rather than sharing it with the others who could also benefit from the same opportunity.
Okay. So what are the words that you noted down?
It's just unfair hyphen, others would benefit hyphen, etc. like that. So how do I present it?
Okay. Sahas, can you just read out the second point you wrote down from the conversation?
Ma'am, it won't be justified for the only 7 students in romance department to participate. Since the romance department is too small, the other student should also get a chance to participate, so that the one who wins can say that he has competed against the best students to win the.
Okay, so it will be unfair. It will be an unfair competition, we can say. So anybody else wants to add something to that? Varshini, would you be able to add something?
Ma'am, I've just written down some points. I'll read that out.
Okay, just read it out.
Personal benefit is not right. Since it's a small department, it is abusive towards other students, and then there is not a stronger competition. And she does not want to participate in a competition among very few people. And yeah, that's all.
Okay. Okay, so now Anyone would want to respond? Now here the question is, the student expresses the opinion about why she disagrees. So they've already told you that she disagrees. And state her opinion, explain the reasons she gives. So remember, the reasons are important here. So you have to have all the reasons. So you've taken down your notes, right? Now you will not be able to get back to the passage or the track, but the question will be there on your screen as the timer goes on. So now I'll ask any one of you to answer. So just formulate your answer in your mind. You'll get a few seconds for that. Ideally, it should be 30 seconds, but we've already discussed it. Right? So I'll put the timer on for 60 seconds. Right? Okay. Akshita, can you formulate the entire answer and respond in 60 seconds?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, begin now.
According to the announcement, the university is providing scholarship to study in Italy for 2 semesters, tuition free only to students belonging to the Romance language department. The second speaker, the female student, expresses her opinion and she disagrees with it. There are 2 main reasons why she disagrees with this change. The first reason is that there are students from other departments such as history, Renaissance, and classics who would also benefit from studying in Italy for 2 years. She finds it unfair that only students from the Romance department are eligible to provide their essays to the selection committee. Secondly, she also mentions that it would also take away the honor from winning this scholarship, knowing that other students were declared ineligible for the scholarship.
Okay. So you are 5 seconds over time. Yeah. So you have to be, when you practice, you can bring it down to the limited time. So you can figure out what needs to go in, what doesn't need to go in. Right? So
Yes,
do you think you got all your points down?
Yes, Mama, the 2 points that I had written down, I got those 2.
Okay. Let's see, somebody. Okay, Varshini, suppose you were to evaluate Akshita's response. What would your opinion be? Did she get everything down?
I think so, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was her structure good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did she use correct grammar and sentence structure?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So out of 4, how will you rate her response?
Maybe a 3.
Maybe 3. Good. Yes. So it was good. You had your points. Only you have to make it a little more concise. Right? And somewhere it happens, somewhere there's a little repetition of phrases, but that's okay. Once you practice, you can get it better. Okay, let's see who else wants to respond to this. So you people have had enough time to think. Sahas, can you give me an entire answer?
Okay. Should I start?
Yes, you may begin.
According to the announcement, the university is offering a abundance scholarship for.
Okay, can you come closer to your mic?
Can you hear now?
Yeah.
According to the announcement to the university is offering a course, offering abundance scholarship for the students of Romance language, which gives them a tuition opportunity of tuition free 2 semesters in Rome. The second speaker or the woman disagrees with the announcement. There are 2 main reasons for her disagreement. The first of all, according to her, it would be abusive for the other students from other courses such as the history or classical, they too should have chance to give up to give their essays. Secondly, it won't make the point would not be justified for winning, right? Because there are the number of students in the romance department is only 7, and it won't be justified to win the competition with such a low number of participants.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, more or less you have utilized your time, maybe 1 or 2 seconds less. Now tell me, Sahas, do you think you had clarity in your thought when you were speaking? Were you a little mixed up?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you were speaking, it sounded like you were a little mixed up. Now, one thing was not very clear from your answer. You didn't mention it in the announcement, nor did you mention it clearly in the response by the student. That what was the student disagreeing with? Yeah, that is missing. And that is a very important point. Yeah. So if you don't tell the examiner what the student was disagreeing with, it won't be clear what are you explaining, right? And when you are explaining, more or less keep to the order in which the student has presented the points. It will be easier for you to formulate your answer because you know that this is the first point and this is the second point. Here you began with the last point and then went on to the point before, and you were a little jumbled up because of that, right? So that's why taking down your notes, writing down this is point number 1, this is point number 2 is important. So you can use a template. And secondly, did you use a template properly?
No, ma'am.
No, right? So that's why your answer was a little vague, a little like it was not well structured. Structuring your answer properly is very important. If you don't structure your answer properly, you will lose out on your points. Maybe now in your case, Sahas, your response would get say a score of 2, right? And remember, you are aiming for 4, nothing less than 3. Okay, so you have to practice a little more. So does anyone? Yes, Sahas?
Ma'am, can you just show me the format because I missed it, the template format, just for 1 second.
Format. Okay, just a second. The templates are there in your book. You can go through them. The guidelines section of your PDF at the end. Each task, the templates are given to you. The various options are also there. This is the short form of the template. Otherwise, if you want the details of the template, here you go. So task 2 template, what do you have to begin with? The different options. What when you move forward, what are the first point, presenting the first point, how can you begin? Like we'll say the student believes or the student disagrees because of 2 reasons. And then you go on to the second point. If you have a third point, then you talk about a third point, but it should be clear that this is the first point, this is the second point, and this is the third point. Or just mostly you'll have just 2 reasons. First point, firstly, the student says that reason being, or the first reason is, and then you go. So that's why I said you have to use your transitions. Additionally, moreover, however. So you have to see which words fit in. So 2 to 3, about 2 templates you keep in mind, and according to the question, you use your template. Got it? Any questions on task number 2? First thing is, you should remember task number 2. It's like learning your tables. Even in your sleep, if somebody wakes you up and asks tables, you will be able to tell. Same way, No matter what, just randomly when you are free, randomly thoughts should come in. Okay, what is task number 2? How do I begin? How am I going to go on with it? Firstly, secondly, okay, not firstly, secondly, first reason given by the student. Additionally, the student believes that or says that, whatever it is, think of 2 templates. It should be ingrained in your mind. So memorize it. You don't have to write it down when you are speaking. It should be there. You know that, okay, this is how I begin, this is how I go on, right? So that will come with practice. First time you practice, you record yourself, it may be all jumbled up, doesn't matter. Do the same task again with a template and structured answer, right? So these are the 2 tasks. They are there in your book. What, 1 minute. I'll show you. So if you're talking about the templates, here are your templates for task number 2. Yeah, task number 2 templates are given. So these are guidelines at the end of the last section of your study material. Templates are given to you, right? You can go through it. Yes, yes, yes. Now here's the music coming from cafeteria. The track number is given to you. You can play the track, listen to it again, and record your response. Yeah, the question is also there. Then this is the second question. So this is all in, I'll tell you what, this is all in TS2. Yeah. Your page number may vary from what I have over here. But it is TS2, integrated task 2, the first question and second question. Yeah, these 2 we have done. You will record yourself, and in the same way, you can go on to the other tasks. There are 2 more questions here. And here, TS5. Yeah, in TS5, you have another question, which is about assessment procedure or group work. Now, one thing you have to do, you have to be a little honest to yourself. Once you have read the passage, cover it, right? Because you know in the exam, the passage will not appear again. So just cover it and then move on to listening to the track and answering your question, right? So this is one task. And let me see if there's another question. No, that's all. You have 3 questions here. And once you have done these thoroughly, I will share some more questions with you after we've finished all the speaking tasks, right? And try doing it. If you have any doubts, if you're not able to do it, we will discuss on Wednesday again. And Wednesday, we will be moving on to task number 3. Okay? So if you don't practice, you will not be confident about your task. So practicing is very important, right? Nihit,
Yes, ma'am.
when did you join?
A few 10 minutes back.
You are in which class? You are not in the TOEFL class?
No, I'm in the TOEFL class, but I hadn't joined before because I had like classes clashing against this. So
Yeah, that's
now,
why I haven't seen you in the middle.
yeah. So this is my first TOEFL class actually.
That's why I was saying, I was wondering whether you are in the TOEFL batch or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you've missed quite a bit.
Yeah.
What you will do is, you will go through your study material. Yeah. The reading and listening sections, I think you will be able to manage. If you have any doubts, you can let me know.
Okay.
And apart from that, we have done independent task 1. And today we did the integrated speaking task 2. Yeah. So we've done 2 speaking tasks so far. You will go through the guideline section of your study material. I hope you've got the study material.
Yeah.
If not, then you can download from the link shared in the group. Okay.
Yeah.
And the tracks are given. You can go through the guidelines and try to do it as far as possible. And maybe next session, I will help you. If you can join 5 minutes early next session, then I can see where you are getting stuck and help out with that.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So you will be able to join from the next session on time or before time?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you join before time, maybe we'll get about 5 minutes to discuss it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any doubts so far in this? No? Akshita, Sahas, no doubts? You'll be able to do it? Give it a try. Record and send it to me. Doesn't matter if it is not okay. If you listen to it and even if you think that it doesn't sound right, send it to me and I can help you with improving on it. Okay? Okay then, thank you so much. And we'll meet on Wednesday same time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good day.
Ma'am.
Yes? Who is
Ma'am,
it? Sahas. Yes, Sahas.
Will there be a drastic change between the TOEFL from 15 July onwards, or is it a small change, something like that?
The change will only be in the